When it comes to bass fishing, what's on your boat's deck can make all the difference. Every bait tells a story and every setup has a purpose, and I'm breaking it all down. What's on my deck? Let's dive in. All right, as promised, welcome back to What's on My Deck. This is part 2. We got 4 more little extra rod setups, and I just couldn't pick 9. Like I said, it's what am I throwing right here, right now? What have I been using, or what do I plan on using to catch fish? And this one's extra special to me because I just caught my PB on it. My PB in 11.32, I believe, off the top of my head, and I caught it on a big old 7-inch Z-Man scented shads. I'll actually be in an upcoming episode, the Bass Lane, which will be out in April. So make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you follow along, not just what's on my deck, but also the Bass Lane too, where you get to see this kind of stuff in action. And I'm using a little 1/8 ounce Black Sheep custom tackle. This is our Strollin jig head right here. Alec Morrison designed this. Man, it was an awesome bite. It's all on video. You never know how big they are till you actually get them in your hands. And you know, I caught my first 10-pounder with the spinning rod, and when you know, I caught my first 11-pounder on a spinning rod. So actually, same exact rod on both those fish. I've caught numerous 10s on this rod, actually, now I think on it, but it's a G Loomis NRX Plus 872S jig worm rod. Talk about this a lot. I got a ton of love for this rod, and when I'm throwing these bigger minnows, I think it's absolutely perfect. It is a little bit longer. It's 7 foot 3 inches, extra fast, medium action, and I'm throwing a Shimano Accents with straight 10-pound Power Pro red to a 12-pound Seeger Invisex leader. But awesome hook for this big bait. Pegs them. I didn't have to worry about nothing except just fighting that fish. And I can't tell you, for those of you that never experienced catching one that big, let alone on a spinning rod, I really highly recommend for those to do that. Up next, another one will be in the upcoming Bass Lane. Absolutely destroyed them. In this case, I'd used a few different prototype Black Sheep ones, but I didn't have a black and blue color yet, and so I went with good old faithful. This is a Dirty Jigs 3/8 no jack. I'm using a Z-Man diesel minnow. I cut just a little bit off the front, but I still want that big fat paddle. And how I was fishing this thing is 4-wheel drive fishing. I'm throwing it in the deepest, thickest, nastiest stuff that you might not even want to throw a frog in there, but this thing comes through easier, if not, you know, as good, if not better. And I don't know why I still have this rod rocking, but it's my prototype NRX Plus 904C MBR. You can see it's actually the old school reel seat. This is when we were first testing the blanks. I've caught so many bass with this. I didn't even realize I grabbed this rod when I left. I thought I grabbed just a standard NRX Plus 904C, but my prototype still kicking strong after all this time. And I'm using a Shimano Metanium HG and straight 50-pound Power Pro SSV2 braided line. Awesome setup for doing what I'm doing. Literally one of the setups I pick up the most when I'm in Florida fishing shallow cover, and I'm expecting to get big bites. I'm a swim jig lover, period, no matter where I'm at in the country, but definitely down here in the state of Florida. Next, a little bit of shell bar fishing. We're getting some post spawn going on down here, some pre-spawn, getting some in Tennessee. They're going to be having some gizzard shad spawn here real soon. I start liking a big lipless crankbait. I'm not much of a lipless fisherman. You don't see me throw them often. They're definitely not on my deck a lot. Way more of a chatterbait fisherman, but I do like a big one. And this one right here is the Bass Mafia 3.0 Boss Vibe. Love this color. Bluegilly perch for smallies. It's 7/8 ounce. It's one thing I love about it. It's loud. It's got a good rattles, real realistic, big panic eyes. I am throwing this on the setup I generally wouldn't. I usually throw a lipless on the bladed jig rod, the GLX bladed jig rod, but in this case, I was throwing it to some pretty big fish and some real shallow cover that I was dead sticking it on shell bars, and they were picking up a bite. I actually broke off my white one, so I'm hoping that they like this perchy bluegill one as good. We got a lot of bluegill spawn going on down here in Florida, so I'm expecting that it might actually even be a little better. Again, the 894 jig worm rod, that's NRX Plus 7.5 fast heavy, Metanium 7-speed. That's all you need. I want to be able to reel it fast, but I don't want to blow it out too fast. I'd rather be able to slow down because it is spring, and generally I'm fishing traps kind of slow, especially around shell bars. And then just on straight 20-pound Seeger Invisex fluorocarbon. And last but not least, you got to have a frog. It's springtime. Spawn, pre-spawn, post-spawn, they're eating frogs, they're eating bluegills, they're in the thick stuff. And if there's one bait I got to pick up and depend on it these days, it's probably a Nico rig or a minnow or a frog or a chatterbait. This is the Bass Mafia. This is Brett Cannon's frog. It's an awesome designed frog in that the weights are on the hooks. It really disperses a lot of water. I love throwing this thing down on like Okeechobee, Stick Marsh. It's a good one. Now's the time of year to be throwing it. And I'm using a bigger setup than I would generally be using. I'm using that same 904C rod, but this is the GLX version, the GLX 904C MBR 7.6 fast heavy. It's just my Florida stick. I use these things all the time. The 904 MBRs are awesome. Shimano Metanium XG, I want that fast gear ratio. A lot of times if I'm going to be making big casts, I'm going to go to the Corrado with the 200 size spool on it so I can get away with a lot bigger casts. But in this case, I'm still throwing it but real target rich areas that I expect there to be a big female bass. Even when they don't bite this, they will show themselves. I can usually flip back in there with a bang stick or a little wacky Nico something or other and catch that fish. But that's my setup. Those are the 4 bonuses. Again, thank you for watching. We'll have another bass lane before we have another What's on My Deck. So please continue to follow along. And I just want to say too, whoever sees this from up north, I have 2 seminars coming up in April. Both of them at SCHEELS St. Cloud and SCHEELS Mankato, and we'll try to throw those dates on here too for you all to come and check out. I'd love to see you there. You're going to be talking bass fishing, fishing electronics. It's going to be a good time. So pound that subscribe button. Thank you for following along. Tight lines.